Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing out there today in YouTube land? Hope everybody's doing great. Got a little fluff on my microphone there this morning. What's going on? I got to do some house cleaning. Hope everybody's doing well. Hey, I never know how to start these shows, so I'm just going to start. Why jump right into it? Why waste time? Addicted to Gear. Tony here. Show 208. And I'm happy, guys. I'm feeling good. Summer's here. Beautiful summer day today. I've been waiting to get into summer mode, and I'm there. I think we're there now. I can actually go out with a t-shirt on and shorts, get some color on these chicken legs. So I hope wherever you guys are, you're enjoying it too. Hopefully it'll be a great summer for everybody, and we'll get some great quality you time or me time in there, along with other things. So welcome to the show, guys. How was your week? What's new? What's going on? I hope you guys got something cool and interesting to bring to the discussion today, because Addicted to Gear is all about talking about gear. That's why we're here. So hopefully we'll see some new faces here today, and a lot of familiar faces, I hope, as well. And jump right into the chat, guys. The floor is open for everybody. I was looking at some of the comments that were going around just before the show started. And, I tend to jump in and out while I'm getting prepared. So if you guys want to ask questions and you want to gear or direct a question directly to me, just put a question mark. If it's a question for the entire group, just ask the question, just so I know what the difference is, because when I scan through the questions quickly, I'm going up and down the list here. It's easier for me to spot them. All right? All right, let's say good morning to everybody that's here today. Wayne, how's it going, dude? Hope you're doing well, man. Eddie Jr., nice to see you drop in. Cushman 2. Gene. Gene's a regular here as well. Music and Gear. Hey, Music and Gear, I watched your live stream today. And actually, I don't know if you guys know this, but if you guys do have a channel, I do subscribe to your channels as much as I can to see what's going on your side of things. It's a two-way street. So Music and Gear, I thought your live stream was great, and keep it up, dude. You said it was difficult. You seem to have done a fine job to me. Keep it up. And I was disappointed to see that you were having an issue with that truss rod wheel. It may just be seized. I know you mentioned that you thought it may have glue in it, and it could possibly be that. But sometimes they do have a tendency to seize up. But either way, honestly, if it was me and I bought it from Amazon, I'd send it back. Send it back, get another one if you really want to try it. Try another one. But, hey, if I'm not 100% satisfied with a product, I usually don't tend to keep it. That's just the way I am, I'm laying down my hard-earned money. If it's not making me happy or giving me issues, it goes back. Let the company work on it till they got it right, and then send it back, That's how I look at things, man. No, man, it was far from a train wreck. It's not, a lot of people feel like talking to yourself is easy, because it's actually like you're talking to yourself. I know you have feedback from others. We do have comments, but you got to keep things rolling and keep things interesting. So it is tricky, but it gets easier as you go. So keep it up, man. Keep it up. Great job. And also, welcome to the world of YouTube ads. I think you know what I mean now when I say it's pretty frustrating. Because for those of you who haven't seen the live stream, Music and Gear mentioned that, the way you adjust the ads when you're doing a live stream or anything on YouTube for that matter is really pretty limited. So even if you don't want to have commercials, they throw them in there. That's where YouTube makes their money. So it's very hard to get rid of it, get rid of them. It's a necessary evil. So if you guys see ads pop up here while we're talking, please be patient. All right, so before we get too far in, guys, I do appreciate it if you guys can give me a thumbs up at some point during the live stream. It definitely helps us, and you know, it's always appreciated. If ever you want to support the channel, you can do that with, you know, there's many ways. You can do it just by subscribing to the channel. You can do a super chat if you wish. You can buy some swag. I do have a link to some swag on my store. Last week I was wearing my I'd rather be playing guitar t-shirt. Some of you commented on that. You can get that in the swag store as well if you're interested. And a small percentage of that total purchase price goes to supporting the channel. All right. Okay, guys, so let's jump into the questions. So yeah, Jeans noticed the guitar I'm playing today. This is an ERT guitar I picked up a while ago, and it's a Telecaster style guitar. I like this guitar. I reviewed it on my channel for those of you that are interested, and it's got some nice features to it. You know, I like the fact that it's got the little carve here, goes back a little bit. I like the neck, really nice playing smooth neck. The carve up here as well for easy access, and I like the tummy, well, the armrest thing here. I think the pick guard's tastefully done. Overall, I really like this guitar. The fretwork on it is really good. The rounded frets are really nice. I grabbed this guitar, I think when they were still like $200. Not 200 like on the penny, but in the $200 range. And I checked recently, and it seems like the price has gone up. Big surprise, right, guys? Everything's going up today. Now I think this model, which is the which they call the NKC1, is retailing in Canada for $499, so just shy of $500. $499. The sweet spot was definitely way back when they were less expensive. And I grabbed a couple of these. I think I have 2 or maybe 3 at this point. I have a Strat style one and this one as well. Nice guitar. I like it a lot. So if you guys ever want to check one out for yourself, check it out. You can grab them on Amazon, and they pop up on the used market as well from time to time. So grab one. EART says time surfing alien, or ERT. EART, yeah, I think that's what. It's not the most elegant name for a guitar, and also the logo. Not really a fan of the block letters and the big fat dark, you know, just black lettering in there. You could have chose a more elegant name, but what the hell. So how many of you out there have done your homework? Last week I did give you guys some finger exercises. Be honest. Raise your hand if you've done the homework. Who's done some homework this week? Let me hear. Let me see. My estimation is that very few of you probably did it. Be honest. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, last week I did give you guys some finger exercises, if you guys remember. And for those of you that are actually practicing and not just watching videos all day long, this is the finger exercise I gave you. I'll just go through it quickly one more time in case you missed it last week. Vinny's World says he's practiced. Good job, Vinny. So I have a little bit of overdriven sound. Whatever. It is what it is. So the exercise I gave you was this. So if you guys remember, it was in terms of fingers that you're using, not frets. It was 1, 2, 1, 2, 4. So I was doing, or you can do 1, 2, 3, whatever it is. But I was doing this. So basically, it's 1, 2, 4, the finger and the fret. So 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, Then coming back down, you slide over and it's 4-3-1, 4-3-1. So if you play it slow, it's right? All the way up to the 12th fret, and then coming back down again. And if you notice, you don't see my thumb. The thumb is behind. So you want to do up and down strokes, not down, down, or up, up. Alternate. And when you do it, you want to use a metronome. So remember the metronome was slow. Start slow. So boring, right? And you want to do up and down strokes. So if you're doing this at 90, like what I'm doing here, it's kind of boring. But eventually you build up your speed and you can actually do triplets. And the idea with this is because you're doing a 4-bar beat with the metronome, but you're only playing 3 notes. The idea is it's a triplet, right? So when you play it fast, you're going to do this. Sorry. Triplets. So once you can do that fast and clean with the up and down strokes, then I'll give you another exercise, all right? I'll do that later on today. I know a lot of people are bored and they don't want to do this. They don't like to practice. So if you don't like to practice, I get it, but it definitely makes a difference at the end of the week. And I think some of you that have practiced this week will probably notice the difference, not only in the dexterity of your hands, but also both the picking and fretting hand, but also it loosens everything up. When I wake up in the morning, especially on Sundays, my hands feel like swollen, you know. So you definitely have to get them moving before you can get things flowing. All right, so let's jump into some questions before everybody gets bored to tears here. I'm just scrolling back. There is a poll question up today, guys, as per usual, so please take a moment to cast your votes. We're going to take a look at that later today. And really the topic of today's show was based on the poll question, which has been the question of the day is, what is your biggest motivating factor for learning how to play guitar? A lot of people don't necessarily, how can I put this? A lot of people don't think about that too much, what actually motivated you to start playing guitar. But I think if we think back deep down, everybody here probably has a motivation for picking up the guitar. And I want to hear what your story is. So while I'm talking, think about that. And we'll bring it up as we go through the other questions. We'll talk about that in a few moments, okay? Okay, so let's get to some serious questions now. Let's see if there's any gear or guitar related questions. I think Mississippi Blues has a question here. All right, so Mississippi, yeah, he does. I'll post it up for everybody. He says, hi, Addicted to Gear, Tony and all. Tony, I just fitted a Bigsby to my Nashville Telecaster. Love it. How do you feel about Bigsbys? So I think I mentioned it on the channel before. I'm not a huge fan of Bigsby trem bars. You know, I just feel like they're a little bit bulky and they're not the most refined piece of hardware that I've seen. I think over time things have gotten better. That being said, a lot of people do like the Bigsby. They still like it. I think it's a throwback, so they like the mojo. Some people really like having those on a Telecaster because it looks cool, you know. I like the way it looks. Now, I don't really need a trem arm on a Telecaster, you know, or something like that, but I get the idea that some people just like it more for the style and the look as opposed to the practical aspects of how it works. Because honestly speaking, they're not the best in terms of, consistent returning back to pitch and all that kind of stuff. They do actually give your guitar more mass and a little bit more weight. So if you're looking for a lighter guitar, maybe it's not the best option, but I do get it. If you like the look. I don't know if anybody here really likes the look of that and has a Bigsby on their guitar. Maybe you guys want to pipe in. And it could be that there's something that I'm missing, guys. Maybe, I haven't caught the bug yet. Like, it took me a while to catch on to the beauty of what is the SG guitar. And now I get it. It took me time, but I understand it now. And now I have 3. So I'm catching up quick. Never say never is my motto. Steven says he's been practicing this exercise, running some scales, working on different positions, and working on Alexandra Zerner's diamond. She sent me the tabs. That's very cool, man. Keep it up, dude. How are you doing, by the way? I hope the move is done. You're all settled in now, I hope, Steven. Let us know what's going on. I like the triplet exercises. You know why? Because there's a missing note in there, and it really does force you when you're working with the metronome to focus on feel because of that missing note. When you're doing a 4/4 rhythm over a 4/4 beat, it's easy. You just have to be on the beat. But when you're playing 3 notes on a 4-beat rhythm, there's a missing ghost note in there, and you have to feel it. It's more about the feel. All right, Paul says the big deal for cool, cheap guitars are the Jet brand. They even go to trade shows like a real company. Strats start at $210 USD with good specs and excellent playability. It does seem to me, and welcome Paul, by the way, it does seem to me that the Jet brand is getting a lot more airtime on YouTube review channels. So I'm thinking that they've got to be decent guitars. I haven't tried one yet. The only thing I remember is they do also have, if I'm not mistaken, a pretty big ugly logo on the headstock. Correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, but I tend to remember seeing that. Let me take a look here. If I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken with another guitar company altogether, but let me see here. They do have some nice models. Like, I'll give them that. They have some nice looking guitar models. I don't know if they're all about $200 or not, but they are looking very, very classy indeed. I mean, I'd be a fan of one of these guitars. It all depends on which series you're looking at, I guess. They have the low end to the high end series. They don't list all the prices here, but maybe I'll see if I can get one for a review. A lot of good stuff out there, and I'm a big fan of inexpensive guitars. I don't like garbage guitars, but if it's affordable, I'll take a look at it for sure. Vox says that he has several guitars, some with Schaller strap locks, some without. Should I buy cases? I think you meant cases for guitars without them, or just buy a strap for those guitars. I know, first world problems. What's a Haze? I don't know if I'm not reading your question right. So what I would say is, if you like your guitars, if I understand your question correctly, Vox, if you like your guitars, there's no problem protecting them. If you want to buy strap locks, I would definitely do that. There's nothing worse than dropping a guitar accidentally. Thankfully, it's never happened to me yet. It has almost happened to me where the strap came off and I caught the guitar, you know, like I felt it coming loose and I grabbed it before it fell. I'm so happy it didn't fall to the ground. You can use strap locks. You can buy the shallower ones. You can buy the expensive stuff. I usually go the cheap route. I got these. I get the little washers. These are little rubber washers. You can get the real ones, like, well, real ones, the ones that have been marketed for guitar players, or you can get the little ones that are actually made for beer bottles. You can get them in packs of 50 and 100. I think you can even get them on Amazon. And these work really well. Once you put your strap on your button, you just put this on like that, and it sandwiches your strap between your button. This won't come off. This stuff won't come off, and it won't affect, because it's made of like a silicone material. It won't affect the finish on your guitar either. So, you know, 2 of these cost like pennies. You know, you can buy a bunch of these, and there you go. You put your strap on there, you put these on, you're good. That's how I do it. Tried and true. Marcel says Ivy, Ert, Firefly, or Eart are all excellent guitars at affordable prices. It's true. You don't have to go crazy and spend too much money if you don't want to. There's a lot of good options out there now, which is great for us. The only problem is making a decision on which one you want to buy. Time Surfing Alien says, I've seen the Wolfgang. Awesome, saving my pennies. Yes, I noticed that too this week. There was a lot of mention of the new guitar by Wolfgang. It looks cool. Not my style, but it's definitely different looking, and I think it's going to appeal to a lot of people. I don't know the price on that yet. Do you know what it's been listed at, Time Surfing Alien? What's the price on it? I wonder if it's actually, maybe I can just Google that real quick and find out for myself. If the price is already listed, I'm not sure that it is. Might be too new. EVH SE126, is that what it's called? I think it is, right? $2,599 here in Canada. That's how much it costs. Yeah, man, they don't give them away. Don't get me wrong. It's a nice looking guitar. Can you see my screen, guys? Let me know if you can see my screen, because I don't want to do like last time. I'm talking to myself trying to show stuff and it wasn't showing up on your end. But if you can see my screen, I have it pulled up here at Long and McQuaid. And basically it's $2,599.99 Canadian. Looks cool. I like the E-hole. I don't think you can call it an F-hole. Or maybe it is an F-hole. I can't really make it out, but I like the way they did the little design there. Yeah, I agree with you, Gene. I agree with you, Gene, not with Eugene. 2,600 plus tax. You know, I want to like the guitars, but the price is just like really hard to swallow, in my opinion. It's got some nice features. I like the inlays on it. I like the finish on the top. I think that's really cool with the sunburst. I don't know if I'm a big fan of the square bridge saddle here in the middle. A little too square looking. But I'm picky about that. Headstock, I don't like the big letters. The SA126 stands out. I think they used the lettering that looked like, you know, the block decal letters that Eddie Van Halen had on his guitar that said 5150. It's the same style letter, but it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't look elegant there the way they did it. The back of the neck is nice. Really like the stinger. I like the way the back of the neck looks with the unfinished back there, and it looks like they give you a nice case. So at least they're giving you a case with it. That's cool. I think a lot of people today don't even throw in cases, so that's a little bit of a bonus. Steven says that's more than twice what I paid for my Les Paul anniversary 45 years ago. I know, but prices are all going up, man. What are you going to do? And Time Surfing Alien says 126 is Eddie's birthday. Ah, I see. I didn't know that. Very cool. Very cool. Who else has a birthday today? Anybody else here is celebrating a birthday this week? If I'm not mistaken, I do believe that Mr. Pete Townsend has a birthday. I think it's today. My sister-in-law actually has a birthday today, so I want to wish her a happy birthday as well. So if you're watching, Anna, happy 60th anniversary. Birthday to you. Cheers. I'm only, nothing. There's no alcohol in here, unfortunately, but happy birthday to you guys if you have a birthday. I think Pete Townsend's 79 today. And he's still doing it. He's still rocking. Hey, Dan, no worries. Better late than never. So Pete Townsend, one of the old-time rock and roll heroes from The Who, obviously. Still doing it, even though he's battling hearing issues. For those of you who are AC/DC fans, so AC/DC just launched their new tour, right? So if I'm not mistaken, they have a new bassist there as well. The tour, I watched a couple of videos because I was curious to see how they would perform, if they still have it or not. And it's called the Power Up Tour. And guys, honestly, they sound awesome. They sound great. And God bless them, man, if they can still do it at that age. And the only odd thing, and it's a little bit of a time warp when you look at it, in your mind, it's kind of it doesn't compute when you see Angus on stage running around in his schoolboy uniform like he always did with long white hair. I mean, the guy's a senior citizen now, and he's still A, rocking, which is incredible, and B, still doing it in his schoolboy uniform, So I don't know. It's just, I don't know what they put in the water for these guys, but it looks like they just never stop. The Rolling Stones are the same. A lot of old bands are just doing it, and they can still do it. I mean, I wake up in the morning and I'm full of aches and pains, and I can hardly walk properly when I wake up in the morning, and these guys are on stage in their 80s still doing it. So God bless them. What can I say? All right, guys. So any other questions? I'm going to go through the list here. I think there was a couple others that I missed earlier on. So let me scroll. In the meantime, feel free to add more questions to the list here. Let's see here. So Steven's still in the middle of moving. Hey man, I'm sure you're getting your exercise in. You're getting your steps in at least. Surfer By wanted to know what those red strap locks are called. They're just called bottle seals, if I'm not mistaken. You can get them on Amazon. If anybody does their own beer, makes their own beer, the brand, here, let me see. These are the ones that you can buy here. I'll show them to you right now on Amazon. Okay. Here you go. So you can get a a 30 pack right here, similar to these. They're not all exactly the same. Some of them have like ridges, some of them don't. So you have to go and find the right ones. But you can get like a 70-piece set. Like these are not the ones you want because these ones are like tapered. You want to get the flat ones. And they do have those too. You just want to make sure, like these, for example. They have to be the flat ones. So look at the pictures. You don't want to get these are no good. Let me see. They used to have the good ones. Did they take them out now? I'm sure you can find them if you do a search here. I don't want to waste everybody's time, but they're in there. They're just silicone gaskets for like beer bottles. You just make sure you get the flat ones. You can buy them in a bag. Sometimes they don't necessarily come. They won't necessarily come red. You can get like different colors for them. And believe it or not, Fender and other Dunlop and other people have now taken these, put their logo on them, and charged you like, you know, they'll charge you like $6 for a pack too. You know, don't go for those. You can get the ones that are in a big pack on Amazon for a lot cheaper. So Vox wanted to know if the pickups in my eArt are stock. They are. They are stock. I haven't changed them out. Yeah, Jean-Pierre, you're absolutely right. The problem with the ads is that it cuts on your show and it skips what you're saying during the ads. I know, it's pretty annoying, man. It is. I wish I could, like, you know, I wish they would just do away with ads altogether and figure out another way to make money. But unfortunately, they make big bucks with the ads. Now it's like YouTube's turning into the TV. Like you used to like YouTube because it was uninterrupted. Now you get interrupted with 2 ads as soon as you start watching a video. Not 1, but 2. You know, and it's and then further on in you get other interruptions. So it's like, yeah. Music and Gear was in the hospital for 4 days last week. Oh man, sorry to hear that, dude. I hope everything's going well. I hope it wasn't too serious. Hopefully just something minor. Gotta take care of yourself, dude. DMAX says, hi everybody. I've noticed Behringer and TC Electronics are back in Long and McQuaid in Canada. Have they opened up their distribution again or just switched retail chains? I don't know what the story is there, DMAC. I'm not up to speed on all the details, so I couldn't answer that question. But I'm happy that they're in there because I do like the TC Electronics stuff. To be honest, I didn't even notice that they were missing because I usually only drop in on Long and McQuaid maybe once every few months because they rarely have stuff that I'm looking for. Their selection of amps is slowly getting better. Like they're actually carrying Mesa Boogie now, I guess because now they're part of, you know, the Marshall, Gibson bought them. So that's good in a sense because they just used to carry, you know, Fender for the longest time, PV. I don't see many PV amps anymore. I think PV is also slowly going the way of the dinosaur. I don't know what's happening with them. So speaking of amps, the segue I can make here is that I'm actually pretty excited because now finally the Friedman Plex has been released. I know you guys, if you're following my channel or following the live streams, you know I kind of really want to get one of those amps. So now they're finally pumping out YouTube videos. Almost every big name YouTuber out there has one. Rabia has one. Pete Thorne has one. I've seen possibly, you know, a good 5 or 6 already. Sweetwater did one of their own. So just based on that, of what I saw online. To be honest, I'm feeling a little disappointed. I'm feeling like the only person who did a review, and it wasn't even a speaking review, it was just a playing review, that did a good review on that amplifier, was Doug Rappaport. Now, Doug Rappaport is an absolute monster when it comes to playing guitar. I don't know how this guy is not more famous than he is right now, because he's, to me, one of the top players out there. He's a mean guitarist, and if you guys don't know who Doug Rappaport is, you know, check him out on YouTube, absolutely. Anyways, he did a playing sample, and he got it right. The sound was great. Other guys, I mean, and I like Pete Thorne's stuff most of the time, but you know what? And I have a good explanation here. I have a very good explanation. I think what these guys are doing most often when they're playing these amplifiers, because maybe they can't play them loud in their studio, they're playing through some kind of attenuator. They're playing through something, one type of device or another. It could be an aux, could be something else. But the sound when going through those devices is really, like, you can tell that they're not just miking the amplifier or the speaker cabinet. And I'm pretty sure Doug Rappaport didn't do it that way, because he's playing the crap out of that thing and it sounds just glorious. So if it wasn't for Doug, I would almost say, let it be. Because honestly, the Marshall here, Studio Vintage, with a pedal in front of it, will get you into that territory. So, there's something to be said about an amplifier getting you that sound without any pedals. But the advantage with having the option of putting pedals in front of something like this is that you can have a pretty clean sound, and then you can boost it any way you want, and you can get there. Now, I don't know if you guys saw the video that I put up when I was playing this particular amp, and I was playing it through my 4x12 cabinet, playing it through just playing some stuff, and listen to it, compare it to the Plex, and with a little bit more bottom end dialed in on this guy, I think you're almost in the same ballpark. If you have nothing to do, pull up my video where I was playing this one and watch the Plex video side by side, and you let me know what you think. Actually, here, I'll even, just for giggles, I'll even pull up the video link here so I can put it in the description, and give me some feedback on it. Let me know what you think, man. The way I hear it, I think it's still a great amplifier. Let me just see here if this is the video in question. Of course, when I watch my videos, I gotta watch ads too. Imagine your own video. You're wasting time watching. They're serving ads to you too. All right, so here's the video link of the one that I did on the Marshall SV20H. Watch that one, then watch the other one, and leave your comments. I want your feedback, because you guys have good ears. I trust your opinions. I want to know. Yeah, maybe, Paul. I don't know if I get the fact that it's not convenient to use a mic. It's not convenient for me either. When I shoot the videos and I'm playing in the space live with a mic, it takes more time to set it up. It's loud. You got to have, the house has to be cleared out and whatnot. But it does sound better. And I don't have the best miking technique at all. I'm not boasting about my miking technique. It's not about that. But it really is about getting the real impression of the sound. So anyway, just my 2 cents, but I want to hear about what how you feel about it. Cool Tune says, I definitely need to get an attenuator for the SV20H. You can get the attenuator. It does help. You know, get something like a Behringer. It's pretty inexpensive. You can also use your pedals to bring down the sound and get that overdrive with the amplifier without necessarily having to crank the heck out of it. You know, you can do it many other ways. And it's only 20 watts, but it is indeed a really loud 20 watts, guys. All right, so good. So we got that out of the way. You know, I got pretty excited this week. The reason for that is that I'm a big Led Zeppelin fan. You know that, right? I think if you guys again are following my channel, you know that I like Led Zeppelin a lot, and I'm really excited whenever I hear anything that I haven't already heard or seen based on Led Zeppelin is like Christmas for me. So I was really excited when I heard this week that there's going to be a new authorized documentary film about the Led Zeppelin band, and it was created by Sony Pictures. So it's going to be top notch. And I don't know if you guys know this, but there's not a lot of like authorized documentary on Led Zeppelin. There's a lot of, you know, unofficial, unapproved versions that are floating around, and they're not great. They're lackluster at best. But now that they're going to be releasing this one and Sony Pictures is involved, I'm hoping they're going to get some really good quality footage, or maybe they're going to do their movie magic and remaster the footage and make it even better than it was. I mean, we're looking at, you know, things that have been video, you know, shot on video or filmed many years ago, recorded many years ago. The quality is not going to be phenomenal to begin with, you know. But if you're gonna do something with Led Zeppelin, you want it to be top notch. So apparently this was already previewed in certain places in the world already, and it's gonna come to the big screen. I don't know if it's gonna be a limited run or what, but if it comes to the big screen, I'd be interested in going and see it in its full glory. You know, like, yeah, you can watch it on TV and whatever, but you know, watching it on a big screen with, you know, really loud sound, you get into the feel of it. So I'm there, man. If it comes out, I'm there. Marcel says not many videos of Zeppelin on the web. Well, in actual fact, Marcel, recently there was a few more that popped up that were never listed before. I just mentioned that I think maybe 2 weeks back, I mentioned the fact that there was more Led Zeppelin footage floating around now than ever before, stuff that we've never seen. So I don't know where it's coming from, but obviously somebody out there still has some footage. Vox says Jimmy Page has an autobiography written, but he's holding it until his passing away, or so he said. Well, I guess maybe that's a little something that he's keeping, a little nest egg that he's keeping for his family members, maybe. You know, proceeds to that might go to them. I don't know. I don't know what his plans are, but hopefully Jimmy will be around for many years to come. It's gonna be a sad day when he passes. I'm telling you, man. I'll be wearing black for at least a year when that happens. DMAX says the 20-watt Friedmans are cool as they can crank, but also sound great at lower volumes. The Little Sister and the JEL are solid. Yeah, they are good, and they're good compromises if you don't want to spend a lot of money, because they're less expensive. But I believe those are not hand-wired versions, like the Dirty Shirley that I have behind me. It's a 40-ish watt amp, and that's hand-wired. And signed by Dave as well. Little bonus. And I love that amp. Sounds fantastic. Hey, Music and Gear, thank you for stopping by. Have fun, dude. Enjoy your weekend. You're absolutely right, Monk. or Steven, sorry, Munch. There wasn't cameras back in the day, and that's beautiful. To me, that's beautiful. The other day, I just saw a photograph, and I believe it was Freddie Mercury, probably at Wembley Stadium, and he was like in front of a crowd of like 100,000 people doing his thing, and the shot was from behind him looking into the crowd, and not one of the people in the crowd was looking at anything else besides him. Nobody was holding a phone. Nobody was doing this, trying to record it. They were just focused 100% on him, you know. And he was a master at working the crowd too. So that's something that I think we definitely miss, and is not better today, unfortunately. Yeah, JP, I'm telling you, man, I'm gonna have, when Paige dies, I'm gonna be, I don't even want to talk about it, to be honest with you, but I'm gonna be like seriously depressed. The end of an era, for sure. But what can you do? Time goes on, right? Now, the good thing about Led Zeppelin is that they did create so much fantastic music during their time, their short time, actually. But they also ripped off a lot of stuff. And they're pretty, I guess, notorious for having ripped off a lot of music. And, you know, we know a lot of the old blues artists got ripped off by Led Zeppelin. Some of the music, some of the lyrics. In the later days, they actually even, you know, came clean and gave credit to the people that they, I guess, were deeply inspired by. But, you know, you couldn't just do that. Like today, you can't just do that. I don't know how they didn't actually get sued back then, but maybe they did. I don't even know. Maybe they paid hush money. Who knows? But, you know, they ripped off a lot of people, including, if I'm not mistaken, they also ripped off some stuff from the Faces. Believe it or not. At one point, I bought a CD. This is just showing how old I am right now. At one point, I bought a CD, which was actually a double CD compilation. And it was all of the original artists' songs that Led Zeppelin ripped off. And there was a lot of them. Original blues artists and stuff like that. And I can't find that CD for the life of me. But it was so cool to listen to the original versions, that where they got their inspiration from, and it was pretty blatant, to be honest. If I can find that thing, I'll let you know what it's called, but I have it in my stack of CDs here someplace, or maybe, I don't know, it went somewhere, I lost it or something, I don't know, but I got to try and find that one. So Shane says Led Zeppelin did not rip off. Everyone ripped everyone off. Led Zeppelin is sued because they had the most money. Yeah, I guess, but it's just like, you know, a lot of them did get influences from other people. But like, if you listen to the stuff that Led Zeppelin used, like it was like pretty blatant. Like you can instantly tell. They didn't even try to hide it for the most part. Whereas other artists, you know, they'll try and put their own spin on it. It'll sound like it, but not exactly like it. You know, a different way of like masking the fact that you're borrowing pretty blatantly. But they didn't do that. So I don't know if stuff like this is going to be in the documentary. Probably not. You know, but Robert Plant was upfront about taking the lyrics from the Small Faces song called "You Need Love," which was actually a Muddy Waters cover. You know, so you know they're all kind of borrowing off of everybody. Anyway, honestly, I don't care where it comes from, as long as it sounds good, and it sounds great to me. John says, wow, you're the first Led Zeppelin fan I've ever heard not trying to tie themselves into knots, trying to defend or rip them off. No, man. Dude, I don't care. I don't care. You know, they can, look, at the end of the day, if it sounds good, it sounds good. You know, like if you look at, so many times people argue with me over, songs like Voodoo Child, saying, and they're arguing with me saying the Hendrix version is better than the Stevie Ray Vaughan version, for example. I don't agree. And you can argue with me on this, but, hats off to Hendrix. He's the one who invented it. He's the one who came up with it first. So there's no denying that he was he's definitely a talented musician, very creative indeed. I'm not arguing that one bit. But the way I like to say it is that Hendrix invented it, but Stevie Ray Vaughan perfected it. If you listen to the recording, the man put countless hours taking that and putting it into his own style, which just was killer ripping. So for me, if I have a choice, which one am I going to listen to and enjoy more? For me, it's the Stevie Ray Vaughan version. So, I don't know, you guys think, but that's just my take, man. Take it for what it's worth. Advice is free, just like my channel, totally free. Vox says some music from back then was in the public domain, and I believe it's not. I believe it, and believe it or not, I prefer Zeppelin's versions of San Francisco to Mackenzie's. Like I said, man, for me, as long as it sounds good, then it's good. Time Surfing Alien says, it blew my mind to find out about Sister Rosetta Tharpe. And Memphis Minnie was credited on the album, says Vox Guitars Rock. Shane says, only the lyrics, whole lot of love. Music is not at all the same as You Need Love. No, but if you listen to a lot of the other stuff and some of the lyrics, it's word for word. Just go back and do a Google search. You'll see. If you do a little Google search and just a little historic homework for you guys, just what did they rip off? Where did it originally come from? And what was it? And listen to both. You'll see. It's pretty crazy. So Gene says SRV had better phrasing. I think he did have better phrasing for sure. It flowed a lot better. And it also was recorded better as well, right? We're also looking at a recording that was done many, many years later. So the quality in terms of how recordings are made also improved. Sound overall is better. It's less raw, I would say. The Hendrix version is more raw, not as polished. Eddie says Stevie's version of Voodoo Child is the tits. David says Stevie does play it better, but that's just me. Paul says, Tony, Willie Dixon was smart and not greedy. He sued Zepp in a friendly way and just asked for them to a cut for sales. He lived his whole life from the deal. That's another big thing, is if you consider it, a lot of these guys, like these old blues artists, they were on the brink of like poverty. They didn't make a whole lot of money, these guys. They basically just scrimped and scratched their way through, especially the early ones. So for them, yeah, go ahead, use my stuff. Just make sure I get a check every month. So in a way, I would say Led Zeppelin kind of helped them. Thanks, Dan. Thank you for reminding everybody to hit the like button. Please do. I would appreciate that. Yeah, John, I agree. The SRV version is a version on steroids, I would say. I love Stevie Ray Vaughan. I mean, I had a big Stevie Ray Vaughan phase, and I'm so sad to have him gone. Like, I could only imagine the stuff he would have come up with in his later years, and he was just starting to get good, you know. And people look at me sometimes like, what do you mean he's just starting to get good? He was awesome. He was awesome, but half of the time, or probably more than half the time, he was heavily on drugs. He was heavily on liquor. He was, abusing everything during his rise. And just before he died, he actually started to get cleaned up. So I'm 100% certain his playing was going to be even better than it was. And we were just going to, we're at the cusp of seeing the real, SRV stuff. And unfortunately, he died in that helicopter crash. So that's sad, man. It's just, died way too soon. We missed out on a lot of great music, I'm sure. What can you do? That's life, right? So, for those of you who... actually, I want to answer a question that I got from a viewer. Ben, if you're out there, I don't know if he's here today, but Ben had a question for me. He said, we were talking about the SV20 Marshall, and he was looking at the video as well, and he says that he has a similar setup with a Les Paul Standard, and he's going through a 4x12 with 2 greenbacks and 2 G1230s. And he wanted to ask me, as well as anyone else out there, what pickups were in the Les Paul I was using, and what are your settings on the SV20? As well as there's another question, but I'll answer the first two. So the first two questions are pretty easy. I was playing my Tokai Love Rock on that video. The pickups in that guitar is a custom wound set by High Order Pickups, and he does a fantastic job. Probably those pickups are my top 2 pickups for Les Pauls. They just sound amazing. So that's what I'm using in the guitar. Then he says, what are the settings on the SV20? To be honest, I don't remember. It's been a long time. It's like 4 years ago now. But generally, I usually leave my settings pretty static. And what I do is I blend in the high and low by jumpering the channels, get them into the sweet spot. The bass is usually less than halfway. Presence, I dial it into taste, usually not too much. Although in that video, I would say it was lacking a little bit of bass, maybe a little bit too much presence. But usually I dial that back. I just like to have a nice, creamy, fat sound. That's usually how I like to dial things in. And the pickups, he wanted to know also what I thought about switching out the G12s for 2 more greenbacks. And he says his sound lacks clarity and bite. So the G12s are thick and syrupy, maybe too much. I know you're using 65s, but I figured I'd go with 2 more greenbacks for practicality and hopefully clarity. Angus Young has used both greenbacks and the 65s, and that's what I'm going for. I don't think you could go wrong with the 65s. To me, the 65s are great. If you can find them, use them all night long, all day long. They're fantastic speakers. The greenbacks to me are a little bit more muffly sounding compared to the 65s. But they sound good on their own. I haven't mixed them together, but I'm sure they would probably make a good pairing. You can also get the ET65s from Guitar Warehouse speakers. They don't sound like my 65s, far from it, but they're probably as close as you're going to get on a budget. So that's my advice. So hopefully Ben will watch this at some point. Hopefully it'll help him out. Jean-Pierre says Little Richard was originally mad at Elvis for copying Rip It Up and Tutti Frutti, but he later thanked him to put him back on the map. And that is true. That's often what happens, is something gets covered by another band, and all of a sudden the original band gets a little boost. You know, that happened to Aerosmith, you know. Remember when they came out with the remix of well, they used the clip of Walk This Way, and they remixed it, and they came out with the sort of the remix version. Before that, Aerosmith was kind of on their way out. Then they actually came out with that remix, and it, you know, that was the time of Much Music, right? MTV, all that kind of stuff. So they got airtime again. They made a cameo appearance in that video, and all of a sudden they were back on top. Next thing you know, they're people are paying attention to them again. You know, and believe it or not, Aerosmith made more money from licensing their music to the video game Rock Band. Remember that? You could play your guitar. You have to follow the sequences on the screen. They made more money from that than they ever did with any of their tours. Believe it or not. Yeah, Run DMC. Yeah, Heart's version of Stairway to Heaven was awesome at the ceremony. It was really well done. They I originally watched that, and I thought they did a fantastic job on it. And recently I was watching some videos on Howard Stern, and they were actually on the Howard Stern show, and they were in the studio playing a lot of their songs. Sound great, man. They still sound great. Paul Newman made more money off his salad dressing. True. Hey, man, back in the day, people weren't making that much money. You know, it seems like, you know, they were, but compared to what they're making today, it was like a drop in the bucket. So, you know, you got to pay the bills at the end of the day, right? So guys, let's get to the topic of the day here, because we're, you know, we didn't even touch upon that. But so I want to know, you guys had time to think about it. I want to know what motivated you to pick up a guitar and start learning and dedicating time and energy to learn how to play guitar. I know everybody here has a story. I guarantee you. So I want to hear some of your stories. Take the time, type it in, and I want to hear. Okay, in the meantime, I'm going to talk, but type in your stuff. I want to hear it. I have my own story too, so I'll share that with you as well. But to me, it's like everybody's got a story, and sometimes it's just like, hey, you know, I got the urge to play music. I want to be able to express myself more. I want to be able to play with other people. I love the idea of being creative. You know, I like to be in front of people. I like to be able to play and get that attention. Some people out there feel that way. You know, some people don't. Some people just love playing the guitar in their bedroom, in their basement, and that's good enough for them. They don't ever want to get in front of a crowd, you know, and I get that too. You know, some people just want to be able to, like, they just have a challenge in front of them, and it's a difficult thing to do. Like, let's face it, learning to play an instrument, it's not fun. It's not easy. You know, if tomorrow I would give up guitar and had to learn how to play violin or something like that, it wouldn't be an easy thing, you know. Even though I've been playing guitar for a long time, enjoying playing guitar for a long time, man, picking up a new instrument like a violin or a piano or drums or whatever it may be, it's not easy. You got to be dedicated. You got to spend the time. You got to suffer. You know, like the finger exercises. Some people, you know, I was showing this today, and people were giving me the Zs on the screen. I get it. Some people just tune out, man. They're like, I like noodling, but as soon as I have to start like putting in serious practice time, I'm out. And I get that. Some people just don't want to, you know, they don't want to go that route, which is okay by me. But, you know, practice does make perfect. There's no denying. You know, a lot of people are like, well, the guy was born with the talent. Yeah, he may have more talent than I do or you do, but I guarantee you he also put in his 2,000 hours or more to be where he is today. A lot of these guys do it on the road. A lot of these guys pay their dues by playing in front of crowds. You know, people like the Beatles, for example, they honed their craft playing in front of people. That's where they put their 2,000 hours or 40,000 hours or whatever they ended up doing to get so good. And, you know, some people just are not willing to do that. So I get that. So I want to hear your stories, man. Take a moment, type it in. You know, Vinny here says, started playing piano since 3, saw Wayne's World, found my dad's old acoustic, and the rest is history. So Vinny here has Wayne's World to thank for playing guitar. That's a cool story. Shane is all about scoring chicks. Shane, whatever it takes, dude. Marcel just wanted to learn wanted to exercise the brain at 66. And that brings up a great point. I think music definitely does help people stay sharp up here as you get older. You know, we all feel it when we're getting older, the decline. You know, things that were easy start to get more difficult. The attention span starts to get shorter. You know, it's not as easy. The brain doesn't fire those neurons as fast as they used to. But playing guitar, I believe, helps. Playing any kind of musical instrument, for that matter, helps. You know, it's been proven. And, you know, any kind of physical activity helps your body. Any kind of stimulation like music definitely will help your mind. So definitely something that you can take advantage of later on in life too. So Cool Tune says a coworker played guitar, and I had one sitting around the house that my brother never used. He showed me a couple of things. The rest is history. I think a lot of us got the bug by watching somebody else, getting influenced by someone else. Ben says, when I was a little kid, my mother was the most uncool person until I heard her play a 12-string acoustic and sing. That was pretty inspiring. That is cool. That is a cool story. And maybe some of you, you know, came from a musical family, like Ben is saying. My family wasn't very musical, I gotta say. You know, my dad wasn't very musical. My mom loved to listen to music. She always wanted to learn how to play an instrument, but she never did. So I don't come from a musical family. So I'm the oddball. Steven says, there was always music playing in my house growing up. I played trumpet at the school band at 8. I saw Mason Williams on the Ed Sullivan Show play classical gas, and I was hooked for life. See, that's cool that you guys have a background in music in different things. Like some people, you know, may have played piano and switched to guitar, or trumpet, switch to guitar. That's pretty cool. I'm definitely jealous when it comes to, you know, people can play multiple instruments. To me, that's fantastic. I still would really love to learn how to play piano. I can noodle on a piano, but like I'm saying, play piano, you know. That's something that I have on my bucket list for after I retire. Spend some time learning how to play piano. Paul says he was motivated by celebrity. John Cleese said all performers are. He says there are two kinds of celebrities, those that love it and liars. Eddie saw a band play A Long Cool Woman in a Red Dress in elementary school and he was hooked. Yeah, that is a very cool riff there. Yeah, and also with the I like that too. Shane says, my father used to be a lead guitarist in a rockabilly band in Edmonton, mostly his influence. So Shane's got the genes from his dad. And Dan says that he has a long story too, but he played the piano first and then drums. And I've only been playing guitar for a year and a half. Hey man, you got to start somewhere, dude. I played guitar since I was a teenager. Never deviated from guitar till I was probably in my 40s. At one point, I actually, due to trying to get my daughter into music, she wanted to play drums. So I started taking her to drum lessons. I was sitting there watching the teacher show her the lesson. And I said to myself, that's pretty cool. I'd like to learn how to play drums too, so I can also teach her, while she's at home practicing. Since the drums, I got a set of drums, and I actually caught the drum bug for a good 2 years, maybe 2 years and a half. I was still playing guitar, but I was also pretty seriously taking drum lessons, imagine, at that stage. So I do feel like playing drums help in terms of rhythm. I do pay more attention to what's going on with the drums when I play with a band, So it makes things lock in the more instruments you know how to play. I do dabble in bass too, because for me, like, bass and guitar is quite similar, but I never said to myself I want to be a bass player. Just leave it at that. So everybody's got a story, man. It's really cool. Time Surfing Alien says, I was 50 something and the arthritis was getting bad in my fingers, so I kept them moving. I started learning guitar. Visible decrease in joint damage. So you see, it does definitely help. Those silly little finger exercises keeps the fingers moving. Marcel says, I'm 67 and curious of how old the other folks are here. Well, good question. I don't know. I'm assuming we're all pretty much probably more or less in the same age group. If you guys want to share that information, you can answer Marcel's question. Marcel, I'll divulge my age. I'm 54. So I'm a little younger than you are, but I'm sure other people are kind of around that same age group. Tony, remember Aldo Nova? I happened to see him outdoor festival in his prime, and remember him playing a power chord through the big stack, and I was hooked. Yes, I do remember Aldo Nova. And Aldo Nova did go through some hard times. I think he actually suffered from some sort of mental illness at a certain point in his life. I don't know where he is today. I don't know if he's still doing anything. But yeah, he was quite popular back in the day. So Jean-Pierre says, my parents and 2 sisters all played piano, but not me. Up to today, I know pop, rock, and jazz music more than most people. Listening to them taught me a lot. Yeah, well, JP, it's never too late to learn, man. I know how much you love music, so take it to the next step. You got time on your hands, man. Why not use it? So Time Surfing Alien just turned 58. Cool Tunes Made Easy is 60. John ZD351 is 56. Steven is 64 at the end of March. Cushman is 59. Ian's Guitar Shack is 58. Vinny's World is the baby of the bunch, only 40. Charles 75 is 55. Jeff is 58. Paul is 77. So we're all pretty much in the same stages of life, I would say. Ben is almost 48. So he's young. He's one of the youngins in the group, in the bunch. Hey man, it's all up here, man. If you can keep this thing fresh and nurtured and keep fertilizing the mind, you'll be okay. Shane's 51. He says he's a baby. Well, okay, so without getting too distracted here, keep the comments coming in. So I just wanted to look at the actual poll results because we talked about it a little bit, but I was going to skip the poll results, and I just want to see what the numbers say. And I'll tell you my story in a second. All right, so we have 156 votes. Thank you for voting. And so the official question was, what has been the biggest motivating factor for you in learning how to play guitar? And so the winning vote goes to the ability to create music. So, and that's makes sense. Most people learn an instrument because ultimately they want to learn, they want to create music, they want to be able to express themselves. It's an art form, right? It's like learning how to paint or sculpt. You know, it's creating something out of thin air. And that's always been intriguing to me, to be able to say like, wow, I can actually build a song, you know, that didn't exist before today. To me, that's amazing. You know, you bring something into the world that just was floating out there and somehow gets into your brain, you know, gets ciphered through your body into your fingers and comes out as music on the other end. And if you're smart enough to record it, you can actually, and work on it, you can actually create something that wasn't there that maybe somebody else will enjoy. So that's definitely a big part of, you know, why somebody actually picks up an instrument ultimately. So 40% of you said that it was the ability to create music. 32% of you said the love of music and performing. So a lot of you do it just to make that connection with others. And I think I get that. You know, the first time you get up on stage, it's terrifying. It's terrifying because everything is going through your mind at the same time. Do I look okay? Am I going to forget how that song starts when the drummer counts in? Am I going to mess up the solo when it's time for me to do the solo? You know, are people having fun? You know, is the sound right? You know, is my pedal going to switch on when I step on it during that, you know, that part of the song that needs to be boosted? There's a million things going through your mind, but ultimately all that stuff falls away when you start getting into the rhythm. People start doing this and they're smiling and they're into the music. And you know, once you see that you can affect somebody so directly in large crowds like that, and people are in sync, it's hard not to catch the bug at that stage. So I totally understand the love of music and performing music as well. That's a big one. There's a tie between the next two. 10% said dedication to learning a new skill. So a lot of people are just have their mind set on, I need to use my time constructively, and I want to learn how to play an instrument. I want to, you know, get something out of the day other than just, you know, watching TV or watching YouTube videos or whatever it may be. So I want to sit down and I want to learn how to play the guitar. And at the end of the day, I want to know a new riff, or I want to know a new set of chords, or I want to know a new song. So I get that. 10% of you aim for that. But it's been tied with 10% of you who are just in it for the chicks. And I think, although only 10% of you, you know, claim that it was for the chicks, I think that number is actually a little bit higher than that. You know, I'm thinking it's probably above 50. But anyways, maybe some of you were shy to be honest, or, you know, or whatever it is. But 10% of you were honest enough to say that it was for the chicks. And then 8% of you said therapy. And I think, for me, if I'm going to be honest, it's really all of those things mixed together. I think it's really all of those things. I don't think I'd be able to pick out one of the things out of the bunch. I think it's a combination of all those elements at different, you know, stages in my life or different times of the day even. But I can relate. I can relate. Especially when you start to learn how to play an instrument as a teenager. The chick factor is quite important, I gotta say. So thank you for taking the poll. Thank you for being honest. and it just, solidifies what I probably already felt was going to be the answers there. So some of you also left some comments, and one of the comments that really caught my attention was somebody said, my mother once said to me that I didn't have a musical note in my body. That made me determined to learn how to play and prove her wrong. To this day, I don't know how I got through the end of the year concert on stage at school playing lead, but I did it much to my mother's dismay. So he took it as a personal challenge. That's really cool, man. Another person said, I've been a rocker since I was 7. I bought Queen 1 in 73, played a tennis racket for 4 years, then got a Columbus LP, which I still have. 70s music can inspire anything. So it is the power of inspiration there. Very cool. Very cool. I love to hear these stories because I think everybody has a story, and it's just it's nice to hear where you guys got the love of music. I'll tell you my story. My story is not that exciting, but I'll tell you the story. This is how I remember it anyways. I remember when I was a kid, still in elementary school, and a good friend of mine who lived just down the street had an older brother. His older brother used to play the squeeze box. He was an Italian young dude, and I'm still in touch with him today. And he was very good at playing the squeeze box. So I used to go over to their house and play with his younger brother. We used to play soccer and run around and whatever. And they were a little bit more well-to-do than I was. So, they had a lot more stuff, toys, and things that I didn't really have as a kid. But when I would go over, I still remember we'd be playing whatever with a race car track set, or his Evel Knievel, the wind-up Evel Knievel guy that he just got, and all kinds of stuff that I never had as a kid. And I thought that was all cool, fine and dandy. But for me, what really caught my attention was there was an acoustic guitar, and I believe it was an Aria or something like that, a cheapy acoustic guitar in the corner, just laying there. And I believe it was his brother's. But nobody played that guitar. It was just there. And most often, I'd go up to it at some point and just strum it. Just take the acoustic guitar, strum it a few times. I didn't know any chords. I didn't know how to play the guitar, but just strummed it. And I just loved the sound it made. And for me, it was like a magical thing, even though I didn't know how to play it. And it's like I'd find myself more and more being attracted to that guitar, and less being attracted to the toys and games. And when I'd go over, I'd at some point pick up that guitar and start strumming. And I don't know what happened, because it wasn't much, it wasn't a lightning strike experience for me, but just grabbing that guitar spoke to me and never left me since. Maybe it was there, I just didn't realize it. But picking up that guitar just did it for me. So at the end of the day, it just got more and more important in my mind. And eventually I just nagged my mom long enough and hard enough to convince her to buy me a guitar. And I started taking lessons and whatnot. And that's how my story started. So everybody's got a different way. So Vinny's World says the chick factor was 0 for me, because I like heavier stuff, and most girls I know can't stand that stuff. Well, it all depends. It all depends on how you grew up. I remember back in the high school days, there was the disco group, and there was the rocker group, and I was more of the rocker group. I couldn't really and didn't really like disco at that stage, but you were either in one or the other. And then, of course, eventually the new wave, or the alternative music came in, and there was like a third group starting there. But yeah, anyway, so that's cool, man. Thank you for sharing your stories. Thank you for sharing your ages. Thank you for sharing all of this cool information. It's always like every time we get together on Sunday, it's always like I get to know you guys a little bit more, get to know your backstories a little bit more, and I do appreciate that. I think that's the cool part of getting together on Sundays like this. So thank you for being open. As far as new gear and new things that are coming out beyond the Friedman amplifier that has caught my attention, there wasn't that much as far as I can see this week that was launched. There are a couple of new products. I do have something quite interesting here up my sleeve, which I'm going to be reviewing. It's another guitar, a little different. I'll be putting that video out this week, so you'll see that. I also got one of these. I don't know if you guys know about these or not. These are the Ghost Drives. They're put out by Stumac, and basically what it is, it's a kit of a Klon. It's their version of a Klon. It's called the Ghost Drive, but it's like a do-it-yourself kit. So I want to learn a little bit more about putting pedals together, and I thought it'd be cool to pick one of these up. So I'm going to be building this guy, and probably doing a few updates along the line there, and see what it sounds like at the end of the day, and see if it really does sound like a Klon or if it just does its own thing. But I'll do a full review on that in case anybody out there is interested in building their own. So guys, I think that's it for today. I'm going to call it a day. It's been about an hour and a half I've been talking. Thank you for joining me today. It's a glorious day outside. I want to participate and get some sunshine and come back later on and record a couple of videos for you guys as well. So I just want to take the opportunity to say thank you for tuning in. Hit the like button on the way out. If you have any questions or comments about anything that was said during today's show, leave your comments in the comment section below. I will answer your questions, and we'll be back next week. All right. So have a great week, guys. Enjoy your gear, enjoy your music, and make every second of the day count. And remember, I want to leave you with a little thought. And I think this fits in with what we were saying here today. A little something to think about today. I don't play music because I think I'm good at it. I play music because I think music is great and I want to be part of it. And I want to have that in my life. So I think a lot of you guys here probably feel the same way. It's not a question of being great. It's a question of enjoying what you do. And I definitely am convinced that I am enjoying what I'm doing here. And I hope you guys are too. That's it, guys. Positive vibes. Stay cool. And see you next week. Have fun. If you can't have fun, what's the point, right? Enjoy yourself, guys. See you soon.